Live from Toronto to the world.
Josh!
This is Josh Holiday Live. Talk that rocks.
The public needs to be informed.
Josh might surprise us.
Got an opinion? Dial 647-6YO-JOSH.
When you hear him, you're like, what?
Josh Holiday Live starts now.
Beep, boop, bloop, bleep. That's what this show would sound like if it was hosted by a macho robot. Bleep, bloop. Or maybe a robot going through puberty. Who knows? It is Josh Holiday Live Friday afternoon. You want to get in touch with the show 24 hours, 7 days a week. 647-6YO-JOSH is the telephone number. 647-696-5674. If you call between 3 and 4 on Friday afternoons, you can be a part of the live conversation. But if you call any other time, you can leave a voice message, and there's a very good chance we'll play it on the show unless you request otherwise. On the show today, a mishmash of things. I've mentioned last week that I had not really stumbled upon, but gone back and found a whole bunch of audio from when I was hosting a radio show in Calgary. It was on a music station, an alternative rock station. I was doing the afternoon drive show, and I did a ton of artist interviews, and we also got a bunch of phone calls from telemarketers because it was a brand new station, so we had just taken over this telephone line, and for whatever reason, this phone number got a lot of telemarketing calls. So we would play around with them on my show. And so what I may do a little bit on this show, I may play an older interview with Tom Morello, who is from Rage Against the Machine and Audio Slave. And he actually is part of the opening theme for this show, which is from Rage Against the Machine. So we may play an interview from him a bit later in the show, and we may sprinkle some of those taunting telemarketer calls throughout the show as well. I am going to Mexico on Monday. Yeehaw. I've kind of just kept putting it off in terms of getting ready or organizing for this trip. I'm on an email list where I get cheap flights. I think it's actually done automatically. I think it's a computer program, and you put in cities that you would like to visit, places you would like to visit, and anytime a cheap flight crops up somewhere, this robot will let you know, hey, guess what? Cheap flight here. And back in November, I saw a flight to Cancun, Mexico pop up, very cheap. I looked at my schedule, and I saw that there's one weekend in February where I don't have any of my hockey games, none of my league games, and it was also the first week of February, so a good chance to kind of break the winter in half with a slight respite in the sun. So I booked the flight and just kind of forgot about it, and then as it's drawn closer, I've kind of been putting it off. I finally booked a hotel earlier in the week, and still got to book my shuttle service. And in terms of activities, I have no idea yet, and I still have to organize the money situation. I'm trying to figure out if it's best to travel with pesos or with American dollars, especially with the American dollar being so outrageously high these days. The good news is there were travel warnings for Mexico. I think for the area near Mazatlan, there's apparently some disruptions in that tourist area because the cartels are having battles with each other. So they're sending warnings about that particular area, and thankfully Cancun is not affected by that. But a warning from the U.S. government came out in this past week saying that if you're traveling to Cancun, be aware that the tensions are high between Uber drivers and taxi drivers, and it may lead to trouble. So a lot of times when I travel, I really love going to Costa Rica, and I like taking Ubers in places where my language skills in Spanish aren't the best. At least with an Uber, you can kind of know the price is exactly what it's going to be. You can't really get jerked around so much. So a lot of times when I go to these places, I do tend to Uber a little bit, just because I feel it's hard to cheat for the drivers, or hard to get ripped off for me. But I will say that when I go to Mexico this time, I am not going to use Uber. When I go to Costa Rica, there's still some tension there. Like here in Canada, if you get an Uber, you just hop in the back, and you know it's essentially like a taxi ride experience. But arriving in Costa Rica, especially at the airport, you get in the car as if you're buddies with the Uber driver. You sit in the front seat. You don't go in the back seat. So the visual looks like, oh, you're just a buddy with this guy. He's picking you up. But not going to happen in Cancun. And I've never been to Mexico, so it'll be interesting. I kind of hope it's not. I mean, I know Cancun is sort of a mega tourist destination. I'm going to go to a little bit south of there. I think it's about 45 minutes drive south to Playa del Carmen. But I worry it might be a little bit too touristy, but what are you going to do? What can you do? If you have tips, you can call the show, 647-6-YO-JOSH. The Oscars list of nominees came out this week, and always in the same week as the Oscars come out, the Razzies come out. The Razzie Awards were sort of created to poke fun at movies and performances that maybe aren't the best for that particular year. And it's usually done in a fun way, just kind of a cheeky way. And some performers, I can think of Sandra Bullock, for one, have actually embraced it and actually appeared at the Razzie Awards celebrating their maybe not so great performances. But a little bit of controversy this year, because the Razzies Golden Raspberry Awards, under the Worst Actress category, placed Ryan Kira Armstrong for her role in the updated version of Firestarter. And the problem here is she's a 12-year-old actress. And that's kind of not cool, very much bullying. And she's a Canadian actress, a Toronto actress, although it spends a lot of time in LA. And over the summer, got a chance to be on a set shooting something. I wasn't in a scene with her, but really just a really sweet, humble girl. And yeah, I can picture. I think knowing the actual person, you can kind of picture the hurt, and it's frustrating. But the Razzies have apologized, and they've changed the rules so that people under 18 will no longer be eligible for the Razzies. And I know even Drew Barrymore came out to speak in defense of Ryan Kira Armstrong. She was the original Firestarter, and she spoke out. So kind of a bummer, but really, really sweet person and a great little actress as well. The doomsday clock has moved a little closer to midnight. We've documented on this show all of the craziness happening in the world, both with the wars going. The war, I don't know if I don't like calling it a war, because it's basically an attack by Russia on Ukraine, and Ukraine are defending themselves, but it is a war scenario, and it's not great. And the doomsday clock is used to illustrate how humanity is close to annihilation. It was put ahead 10 seconds. Its closest position to apocalypse since 1947, when the clock was first started. Now 90 seconds to midnight, and this is, quote, due largely but not exclusively to Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the increased risk of nuclear escalation. It's been at 100 seconds to midnight since 2020. New clock time was also influenced by, quote, continued climate crisis and the breakdown of global norms and institutions needed to mitigate risks associated with biological threats such as COVID-19. So all the things we've talked about: war, climate change, disinformation, I guess is what you would put the COVID under. So yeah, good to know the doomsday is closer. And I also mentioned last week that we were talking about longevity and living longer, and I was saying that in the back of my head, being of a certain age, there's almost a sense of like, you know what, it's not a terrible thing that I'm not going to be around for when things get worse and worse. And this was in the news this week. Speaking of COVID disinformation, according to a academic study, at least 2,800 Canadian lives lost to COVID-19 could have been spared. Tens of thousands of hospitalizations could have been prevented, and $300 million in hospital costs might have been saved if not for the insidious spread of disinformation, according to a new report. Came out from the Council of Canadian Academies. It's an independent science research organization, and examines socioeconomic impacts of science and health misinformation and how it affects Canadians' behavior during two waves of COVID between March and November 2021. It found misinformation contributed to vaccine my mouth is not working today. It found misinformation contributed to vaccine hesitancy for an estimated 2.3 million Canadians. Some of these people believed COVID was a hoax or it was exaggerated, while others believe vaccines caused many problems that are being, quote, covered up, the report said. If all of these vaccine-hesitant Canadians had chosen to be vaccinated against the virus, the report estimates there would have been at least 2,800 fewer deaths, 13,000 fewer hospitalizations, including 3,500 fewer ICU admissions, 198,000 fewer cases of COVID, and $300 million in hospital expenses saved. So good job, vaccine deniers. Good job, COVID skeptics. You actually were responsible for killing people. Not good. It is Josh Holiday Live. You can get in touch with us, 647-6-YO-JOSH. We're going to come back in a second, and I'm going to play you an interview I did with Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine and Audio Slave. And I also mentioned that I was going to sprinkle throughout the show examples of getting calls from telemarketers and playing around with them a little bit. So we'll do one of those, and then we'll come back and talk to Tom Morello.
Thomas?
Yes.
Hi, this is Stacy calling from Zento. Just a quick recorded phone call here for you. I'm calling on behalf of the Old Timers Hockey Challenge. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but
how are you?
I'm good.
Good. What's going on?
I'm calling about the
not with that. What's going on with you?
What's going on with me?
Yeah.
Well, not much.
How you been?
I've been good.
Do you smoke?
Yeah, I smoke.
I can tell you have that voice, like that sexy, smoky voice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Are you single?
I am, yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
What do you look like?
Oh, I'm really pretty.
Oh, tell me. Like how tall?
I'm 5'5".
5'5", and like weight-wise, roughly, just so I can get a visual.
Oh, I'm 115 pounds.
115. That's pretty good. What color hair?
I have brown hair.
Brown hair. What color eyes?
Green.
Green eyes. Wow, that's nice. And how old are you?
I'm 21.
21. That's a good age.
Yeah.
And are you calling from Calgary?
Yeah, I am.
Very good. What are you doing later tonight?
I don't know.
Do you want to hang out?
What are you up to?
I don't know. I'm just probably going to, hang around, maybe grab a drink or something. Maybe you and I get together.
Yeah.
All right?
You think so, eh? Are you going to buy some of these tickets from me?
Well, is our date based on whether I buy or not? Or is that the kind of relationship we have here?
I'm joking.
Maybe in person you could talk me into it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Maybe, how about if you make out with me, I'll buy tickets.
Oh, Jesus. It's not that kind of service, sir.
All right. Well, we don't have to make out on the first date. Second date.
Okay.
Josh Holiday Live is in your ear.
We want to be heard.
I want you to hear me out.
Got something to say? Call 647-6YO-JOSH now. On Twitter at Josh Holiday. And visit JoshHolidayLive.com.
Yes. Josh Holiday Live, 647-6YO-JOSH. Music of Rage Against the Machine. Featuring Tom Morello. And back in 2007, I had a chat with Tom about what was happening in his world with Rage, whether they were reuniting, what they were up to, and sounded something like this.
Josh, what up?
What up, Tom?
What's going on, man?
How was Coachella?
It was very exciting. It was 3 hot days in the sun. I played a Night Watchman show on Saturday, Rage show on Sunday. It was a pretty full weekend.
Yeah. Are your fingers still sore?
No, my fingers are not sore. I built up calluses through the years.
That's good.
So that I'd be ready for weekends like that.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about the Night Watchman. You've been doing this as sort of an in-house residency for a couple of years. The album is out now. Any guests on the album, or is it just you and the guitar?
Just me and the guitar on the record, yeah. And I've actually been, I've written these songs over the course of the last 5 years. And, and at first it was kind of an outlet. And I really loved the arena rocking of Audioslave and enjoyed doing the political work of the Axis of Justice organization. But it felt like there was something missing. Like as an artist and as a musician, I needed an outlet for my opinions. And I've always been a fan of artists like Johnny Cash and early Bob Dylan and Woody Guthrie and so I just started writing some songs of my own, and I'd come off of these big Audioslave arena tours and play these open mic nights around LA, just signing up anonymously as the Night Watchman, and try playing these songs in front of people. I never really sung, so it was a matter of like teaching myself how to use my voice as an effective instrument with these ideas and these words. And then it snowballed from there, and after a while you just couldn't stop me. I was playing at every union rally and protest and peace march, and I got tear gassed at the FTAA riots in Miami in 2004 and was arrested for civil disobedience after playing a set near the Los Angeles airport about 8 months ago. And it felt like a real it feels like what I should be doing right now.
One-man revolution.
That's right.
Not unironic.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Now, does the Night Watchman dress differently than Tom Morello?
Well, of course, style. Tom Morello is not much of a fashion plate, but the Night Watchman is a dapper dandy.
He's very stylish, that Night Watchman.
Yeah, very, very stylish. There's an important uniform involved in that. It's sort of like it's one look all the time that you get.
The Night Watchman, he'll be the next villain in the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, it could very well be.
It's not like the Chris Gaines thing. It's just people know it's Tom Morello.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're not trying to pull the wool over everybody's eyes. But I mean, that's actually how it started. Was I didn't want to be announced at these open mic nights as Tom Morello and expect people to play Audioslave's greatest hits or something. So it was. It was intentional. But then the name clearly fit the kind of music that I was writing, and it also gave me. It gave me something lyrically. It gave me something to hide behind. Like as I was exploring these, kind of the more shadowy recesses of what's inside me with these lyrics, it felt safer to do them, as the Night Watchman rather than as Tom Morello. So it just grew from there.
And tell me, Audioslave, there's all sorts of gossip and talk. What's the real story behind the breakup?
Well, I don't know. There's any gossip and talk. Chris Cornell quit the band. That's the real story behind the breakup. That's where it begins and that's where it ends.
and how did you find out?
I found out some friends saw it on the internet or something. Chris, I've never spoken with him about it. He never contacted any of us, and it's a shame because we were really good friends and had a really good band.
Yeah. And
what are you going to do? Rock and roll's crazy. Rock and roll's silly for the most part. Have you ever seen the movie Spinal Tap?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? That's exactly what it's like. It's take any garage band to any stadium band, and that's exactly what it's like.
Now you're back on stage doing a couple shows. You did Coachella, obviously. That was the big reunion date, but you also added some more touring dates.
That's right.
With Rage Against the Machine.
That's right.
What does the future hold for the band?
Right now, it holds those dates this summer. There are no plans beyond that. We're enjoying very much. We enjoyed very much rehearsing for Coachella, rocking that show, and look, I think there's now maybe 4 or 5 other shows this summer, and right now that's all that's planned. And
is there new? Are you doing new material at all, or just sort of bringing out the oldies?
No, we're not doing any new material there. It's bringing it's a hit laden set.
Playing the hits. Actually, I remember seeing. I always talk about this when I talk about Rage Against the Machine. I was at K-Rock Acoustic Christmas back in the mid '90s. And Rage was on the bill.
I know what you're going to say, yeah.
And it was the Merry Christmas, here's a simulated rape scene.
Oh, my gosh. Let me tell you. That was quite an evening there. Yeah, it was, there's a story we don't have enough time to even go into on the radio, but it was, yeah. We couldn't just sort of play our songs on that night. We had to sort of do a performance art piece that I'm glad there weren't too many video cameras running. I'm glad there's not a lot of YouTube footage of that up.
Just the memories.
Yeah, just the memories.
At least it was entertaining, and it got some talk.
Yeah, I don't know about any of that, but we survived that night, so that's good.
And how is your relationship with Zach now? Is it
great? It was really fun hanging out and being friends again and rocking, playing, rehearsing and playing the show was great.
Kind of regretful in a way that Rage Against the Machine popular, but also had wasn't just hollow kind of rock music. There's a message to it. In the last couple of years in the U.S., the politics have been pretty ripe for the picking. Was there ever any frustration that they don't have that giant stage to get the word out?
No, not really. I mean, it's not like. I mean, it's been more than a couple of years. I think the United States has been, I'd say, exactly 6 3/4 years.
Yeah. Around November.
Yeah, but that was actually one of the major part of the major impetus for me to do the Night Watchman. I had been doing Axis of Justice, the political organization with Serge Tankin. I've been doing Audio Slave, and for me that wasn't enough. I needed an artistic or a musical outlet to get my opinions and my worldview out there, and I found this through an acoustic guitar, 3 chords, and the truth that's for me has been a very effective way.
I thought this was interesting. So you've been doing some movie scoring. How did you get into that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing that for a very long time. And it's not my favorite thing to do, frankly, because in rock and roll or in the Night Watchman stuff, I don't have a boss. When you do scores for a movie, there's a director and a music head of the company who are make it sound more sad, and I'm like, I don't want a boss telling me to make it sound more sad. But it is very interesting to do, and I really loved working with Michael Mann, on the and on a couple movies, and it's very interesting. It's a very different way of thinking about music, of sort of tailoring it to picture as opposed to sort of just organically writing a song.
I guess, obviously, Rage Against the Machine song was used in, what was it, Higher Learning?
Lots of different movies.
Yeah, and I at the time I was like, oh, wait a second, Rage Against the Machine almost felt a little bit like, wait a second, they're selling. But what's your take on that and lending your band's music to soundtracks?
Well, I mean, the idea is that you, certainly with Rage Against the Machine, we lent music to. With some exceptions, we lent music to movies that we believed in. I thought Higher Learning was a great movie, and that it was the John Singleton sort of take on racism and education and the rise of the right wing was something that Rage Against the Machine should be involved in. That didn't seem at all within the boundaries of selling out. We did lend songs to movies that were less sort of ideologically okay. Like we did a song for the Godzilla movie, and that was just basically because I was a huge fan of Godzilla. Yeah. Wasn't any more complicated than that. The movie turned out to be not so great, but it was sometimes you don't have to overthink things.
I'm more of a Mothra fan myself.
Mothra fan, yeah. Mothra was all right.
So what's are you going to, after these few gigs with Rage are done? Are you doing more Night Watchman stuff?
Yeah, I mean I'm touring all summer, U.S., Canada, and Europe, and then probably again in the fall. Coming back around, trying to figure out what the bill will be for then. But yeah, I really love doing this, and it's been a great it's been a great outlet, and it really for me the biggest creative leap forward since I learned how to play guitar solos. The idea of sort of taking all of the responsibility of every note, every chord, every lyric, and trying to craft something that matters is something that is pretty exciting, and I love doing it. So I'm going to be doing this for a while.
Right. I'm coming back around to it because I have to. There must have been some talk during the tours and stuff with Zach about what the future holds. No, not at all.
The tours with Zach, I'm not sure I understand.
With the new Rage dates, there must have been a little talk of, well, what are we doing? What's happening?
Well, we've only played one show right now.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
okay, but the upcoming. Okay, so we will just.
I mean, there was talk, and we decided to play more than one show. Like originally we were going to play one show, and then it was I think 3 other ones, and now I think we added another New York one, and it's we're just taking it easy, and we're going to see how this goes, and everybody enjoyed playing one show.
And you got along for the one show so far.
It was great. I look forward to the next show.
Well, I guess there's a lot of pressure because everyone, as soon as people hear, wait, they're reuniting for a show, there must be a giant amount of pressure, and it's almost there must be a feeling like, oh, that's almost like giving in if we do it without.
No, I don't look at it that way at all. I mean, there's certainly as soon as there was like the inkling that we were going to play any show, it was every manager in the world and every booking agent, everybody's like, jang, jang, jang. And so I think that we've been really smart about it. We've treated it just like it's, like it's a show at a local club. We don't have a manager, we don't have a attorney, it was 4 guys having to learn, 14 songs and then go play them. And that's the way that we look at it. And so I think that feels very healthy.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate the time you took to talk to us.
It is my pleasure.
Hopefully, we'll see you in one incarnation or the other in Calgary pretty soon.
I look forward to it. And the last time I was in Calgary, or 2 times ago I was in Calgary, I became a Flames fan.
Oh, nice.
Because I didn't know anything. I didn't know hockey from anything, and it was right when the NHL was kind of coming back, right?
Yeah.
And the driver was a huge Flames fan and was kind of telling us about how hockey's back and sort of the history of the Flames and the rivalries and all this. And I was like, all right, you know what? That's going to be my team. So I bought like Flames swag. I got a hat. I got the shirt. And I always check those sports ticker on Sports Center to see how we did.
That's awesome.
We didn't do well enough this year. Frankly.
No, this year wasn't a terrific year. I would have got in the playoffs, but well, if you come to Calgary now, the people know that you'll be even more.
Let me tell you, they're my team. Like I don't know anything about hockey, but I know that I'm a Flames fan.
That is awesome.
I have Flames pride. So let's step it up next year. All right, people.
All right. Thanks very much, Tom. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
That is from 2007. It's an interview I did with Tom Morello. I was working at a radio station in Calgary doing afternoon drive at an alt rock station. And this past week or two, I've just been going back into some found audio, some old archives. And that was one of the things I dug up. Also dug up a bunch of these phone calls that we got from telemarketers where we kind of played around with them. We'll play more of those on the show as we go forward. We are going to talk about dating apps, relationships, and that kind of stuff when we come back in just a sec.
You got something bugging you? You need to vent? This is your unfiltered megaphone. Dial 647-6-YO-JOSH now to be heard. Talk that rocks. Josh Holiday Live.
Yes, Josh Holiday Live, 647-6. Yo, Josh is the telephone number. Getting telemarketing calls is annoying. And I was working at a radio station where it was a brand new radio station, and we had a brand new phone number, and the phone number, I guess, was signed up with a lot of different telemarketing companies because we got calls aplenty, and this is an example of one.
We're just conducting a small survey about smoking. Do you smoke cigarettes, or are you in the process of quitting?
Actually, yes.
Okay. Well, are you in the process of quitting?
I would like to quit someday. I have about I smoke about 4 packs a day.
Now, how many cigarettes do you smoke each day on average?
I have about a 4-pack a day habit.
Uh-huh.
I would say about 40 cigarettes a day.
Now, do you think that you will, or you would like to make an attempt to quit smoking sometime in the next 12 months?
Well, I to be quite honest with you, I was at the doctor's office last week, and I was diagnosed with lung cancer, so I only have 6 months to live. So I'll probably be quitting within the next 6 months or so.
Okay. Well, because I have to talk to different age groups, sir, could you please tell me which of the following groups you are in?
Sure.
Under 25, 25 to 39, 40 to 60, 61 to 64,
25 to
over 60.
25 to 39.
Do you or does anyone in your immediate family work for a market research company, an advertising agency, a pharmaceutical company, a tobacco or cigarette manufacturer, a pharmacy or drugstore, or are you a physician?
Yeah, I'm not a physician. I'm just a guy working and dealing with my cancer.
Have you ever tried to quit smoking?
Yeah, well, I certainly, since my doctor first told me I only had 6 months to live, I thought if I quit smoking, maybe that'll extend my life by another couple of months.
Well, thinking about the future and the next time you plan to quit smoking, would you use a stop smoking aid or a quick cold turkey?
Well, I imagine if I die, it'll be cold turkey. Because obviously I won't be able to smoke if I'm dead. So probably I would say cold turkey on that one.
Okay, thinking of products, services, or methods that can be used to stop smoking, what names comes to mind first?
Mortality. Mortality.
Thinking of products, services, or methods that can be used to stop smoking?
Yep. Yeah, probably mortality would be number one for me.
Okay, give me 1 second, sir.
Sure.
Now, any others?
Oh, any others besides mortality? Well, I've been eating a lot of carrots lately.
Excuse me?
I've been eating a lot of carrots lately. I mean, just sort of, because I guess they say that helps sort of, every time you want to have a cigarette, you have a carrot.
Carrots. Okay, for the next time you try to quit smoking, how likely are you to use a nicotine patch? Would you say you would definitely will, probably will, might or might not, probably will not, or definitely will not?
Well, probably, like as I said, I'll probably just go if my doctor said I only have 6 months to live, so within those 6 months when I quit smoking, it'll probably be the day that I actually die, so I probably won't use any products.
So you will say probably will not, or
yeah, probably will not. Yeah.
How about a nicotine gun?
I don't think so, because I just probably be like a whole death thing. Do you know I don't have a lot of friends in whereabouts are you?
Well, I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Oh, Winnipeg. Okay, because I'm in Calgary. I'm just trying to think because I only have 1 or 2 friends, and I need another 4 people to help carry my casket to the grave. Yeah. So you're in Winnipeg, so you wouldn't be able to help with that, I guess.
Okay, sir. Have you ever tried nicotine gum to try quit smoking?
I haven't yet. No.
Actually, sir, I have to read all the questions to make the survey valid.
Okay.
And so you just can say probably will not or definitely will not, either choice.
Okay.
The store brand or private label nicotine gum.
I've got to go. Oh, telemarketers and telesurvey people. That's one of the calls that I did when I got a call from a telemarketer. It is Josh Holiday Live. You can get in touch with us, 647-6 Yo Josh. Even if you're a telemarketer, we'll take your call as that clip indicates. I thought we'd talk a little bit about relationships. Not specifically about my lack of, but it's an ongoing issue. I'll talk first about dating profiles. Things you should never put on your dating profile. There's a list that came out. This is, if you want to find love, don't put this in your profile. 10 things. Never dismiss online dating. And this one's true. I'm on those dating apps occasionally, and I do find it kind of weird when people are like, "Oh, I've never done this before. I can't believe I'm on a dating app." It's no big deal. You'll come across as condescending and judgmental. Don't bite the hand that feeds you your soulmate. Never lie, ever. Don't lie about your height, age, weight, because you'll be found out soon enough. Don't pretend to have a better job than you do, that you're more prepared for long-term commitment than you are. You don't have to put every little secret on your profile, but keep it honest. Never list what you're looking for money-wise or baby-wise in a relationship. They say save that stuff for the actual date. Never use your profile to write about your ex or about sex. It says keep in mind the rules of first date conversation and apply them to how you introduce yourself to strangers online too. Never whine. That's a good rule, not just for online, but for life. Don't whine about your singleness status, about the bad first dates you've had, or the sad state of politics in your area. Keep things upbeat and focused on all the great things you have to offer. Don't ramble. If your profile is 10 times longer than everyone else's, it's not going to be given a lot of attention. We live in a short attention span world these days, so just enough to lure someone in, and then you can get all that other stuff out there when you actually go on a date. Don't be too vague or use too many cliched phrases on your dating profile. Everyone likes having fun, and everyone would list their musical taste as eclectic. You're certainly not the only person who can't live without oxygen, friends, and family. Fill out your profile with details that reflect you as an individual. One of my personal pet peeves from dating profiles is when someone puts goal-oriented. That feels so out of place. It's not a resume. You're not applying for a job. Goal-oriented is something you put on a cover letter or a resume. But don't even put it on there because it's such a cliche. Number 8 on this list of things not to do on your dating profile. Never divulge too much personal information. Your profile is being read by strangers. They shouldn't be able to identify your specific place of work, home address, last name, or personal contact information from your profile. Also, be careful to screen your photos, too. Make sure your photos don't give away too much information. Though I will add a caveat here. A lot of the dating apps now seem to be basically promotional tools for women of Instagram. Some of them do it subtly, where they'll have a regular profile and then put their Instagram profile. Then others are like, I never respond here. Hit me up on Instagram, which is just a blatant ploy to get more Instagram followers. So it's kind of annoying. Number 9 in these rules for things not to do on your dating profile. Never indulge the inner narcissist. Don't demand that your future partner love, worship, and adore you. Don't list the qualities you believe you deserve. I deserve someone who's going to do this, 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 and this. I will also add that there's a quote that I occasionally see that's attributed to Marilyn Monroe on dating profiles. That's if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Which is essentially saying I'm an a-hole, but you better deal with it. I'm going to be a jerk. I'm going to be bad. And if you can't handle me being an a-hole, well, then you're not my type. Which is just not a good thing to put on a profile. We've mentioned this last year. We talked about something called the ick. It's basically features that turn people off. According to a survey, 65% of us have ended a relationship because of an ick, basically a trait that turns them off. And what are some of the most common and most offbeat icks that might cause someone to call it quits with their significant other? Well, they did a survey of 2,000 American adults, and here are some of the icks. Top one is when someone simply smells bad. I guess it could be BO or just in general stink. Bad breath, BO. That was followed by pretending to be more knowledgeable about something than they really are and being rude to a waiter. Those are both at 21%. Rest of the top 10 things that give adults the ick: living in a mess, being overbearing and rude, having dirty fingernails, being too clingy, having bad teeth, double texting, which I will say I'm guilty of sometimes. Double texting essentially is you send a text and you don't get a reply in a relatively short amount of time. You send another text. Talking too loudly, and some other facts from the survey. 15% of people have dumped someone because they were obsessed with star signs, astrology. 14% have ended it with someone who clapped when a plane landed, which is, yeah. I always clap at the end of a movie in the movie theater so the actors know I appreciate their work. 16% of women say wearing a tacky watch is enough of an ick to end it with someone. 14% of men would drop someone who wanted to share food on the first date. 15% say those who refer to their favorite sports team as we are icky and to end it. I talk about the Leafs in we. Oh, we got to do this. We got to be more tough. And finally, 58% believe they may have given someone the ick themselves. I am one of those 58%. For sure, surely. Finally, relationship experts share 10 things you should know about your partner. These are the questions that you should have the answers to if you're serious with someone. Do you know how your partner likes their eggs cooked? I don't like eggs. What would your partner consider to be a big purchase? I would say like a car or a home. What was your partner's dream job in primary school? If you were to arrive at a bar before your partner, what would they want you to order? How frequently would your partner ideally want to be having sex? What is something they're very self-conscious about? What direction do they like the toilet paper, over or under? Just for the record here, over is the correct way. What is their biggest tell that they are stressed out? And finally, how do they like you to flirt with them? So those are questions that you should know for sure about your partner if you're serious. So we mentioned this, that we're going to play a couple of these throughout the show. I used to get a lot of telemarketing calls when I was on another radio station, and rather than just hanging up, would have some fun with these people. And here's another one.
Thank you for responding to our holiday promotion. This is Mary, and who am I speaking with?
Oh, this is Jorge. How are you?
All right, Jorge, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
All right.
Super.
Now, what I'm going to do here is verify your details. I got to get them pulled up on my screen.
Oh, okay.
So bear with me a couple seconds.
All right. How's your day going so far?
Real good.
Good. Mine's going pretty well. I'm having I'm having a good day. I had a steak for lunch. And I had a steak. It was the best steak I've had in I can't tell you how many years. It was fantastic. What did you have? Right. Have you had lunch yet?
I don't have time to sit down for all 3 meals, unfortunately.
Right. It's very busy.
Yeah. But have you been to Florida before, Jorge?
I've been once before when I was a child.
Okay, would you enjoy coming back here?
It's hard to say. I mean, when I was there as a child, it was against my will. Basically, we're from we're from Illinois, and at that point we were living in Illinois, and I was kidnapped as a child, and the kidnappers took me to Florida, and so basically it was most of the time I was in the trunk of a car.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Well, at least I could. How old were you? Real little?
Yeah, probably around 7 or so.
Good Lord. Well, to be honest with you, it'd be real therapeutic to come back here with a good experience.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty terrifying. Like they, I was crying. I tried to run away, so they held me over an alligator pit, an alligator farm.
Oh, you're joking.
No.
I thought you were joking.
No, not at all. I was terrified. And to this day, I can't, even watching on television, I'll see an alligator in a nature show, and I get cold sweats.
Well, what you need to do then is come down here and go to Gatorland, and you'll get over that real quick.
No, I don't know. I would probably pass out if I went to Gatorland.
I doubt it. It's a whole different scenario. That's kind of crazy, but it would be highly therapeutic. How many people do you usually travel with, Jorge, when you take a vacation?
Well, when last time I was in Florida, it was a couple that kidnapped me.
Turn on the lights, open the shades.
The show's over, but the conversation continues. On Twitter at Josh Holiday, on the web at joshholidaylive.com, and hear missed episodes on your favorite podcatcher. Talk that rocks. Josh Holiday Live.